Judica County is brought to you by Whitaker and Hamer, attorneys and counselors at law, your law firm for life.
Welcome back into Judica County Radio. Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer are your hosts. They're the managing partners at Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. Offices conveniently located in Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay-Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. If you're facing a legal situation, you've got questions, you need answers, you can always call the firm, 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch, and you can email your questions to the show, info@judicacounty.com. We come to you from Shady's in Garner today. Guys, we've got questions.
Yeah, we've got our listener questions, and the first two are going to be estate planning questions, and like I said, those come up very often for folks. And the first one's kind of an opinion question. Now that I'm looking at it, it's not like a lot of times we have fact patterns, and we treat it kind of like law school. That's what they do to you in law school. They stand you up in front of a class of about 100 people, and they throw you fact patterns, and you got to kind of dissect it based on what you've learned in class. That was never a lot of fun. They do that to you, Joseph?
Oh, I hated it, man. I hated the law, like the dynamic of law school in terms of like just randomly getting called on and called up. And it didn't happen to me much, man. Thank goodness it didn't, because I just never, that was not my thing at the time. But it was like a couple times it did happen. I just didn't read. And I was like, I didn't read. And I just took it on the face, man. I just took it. And I didn't do anything. Nothing happened to me. Nothing at all happened to me, man. So,
well, in law school, I don't know how it was for everybody else, but in law school, that's one of the things they do is the Socratic method. And so you're in this big class of like 100 people, especially your first year of law school, and they give you more reading than one person can humanly do and understand.
Well, that was my thing. And my method of studying was always like I'd study before a test, right? Like I'd take very good notes in class and I'd study before a test. I wasn't a study every night type of person. That doesn't work for me, brother, personally. And so the way that would work is they'd give you the reading the night before. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do all this before I'm going to learn it in class, do it on the test, right? And they'd call on me. And like I said, I'd take my lumps, man.
We had a torts class, and torts is negligence things that you can sue someone for. You have torts, and huge class. It was the biggest class I was in, and we had a teacher. His name's Professor Button. If he's out there, hello, Professor Button.
Shout out.
But Professor Button would come in there, and I was so terrified of him. He was very well put together. The rumor was around our school that he had been a corporate. I don't know what his past was, but he had been like a corporate attorney, and now we were like deathly afraid of him, and he would just ask you a question. Yeah, you got no shot, man. It's 1 in 120, and and he would
get you though. He got you.
He would stand you up, but
did he get you?
He got me. I think I did all right. I think he stood me up on a day where I'd
you're feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, there's those days where you gave 110%.
Oh yeah.
And there's those days where you did. But
yeah, we had our guy like that was our contracts professor, and he caught a kid first day, and then it was just for the next like 3 weeks every day it was that kid, and I don't even think he was trying to teach anyone anything. I think he was just trying to teach everyone that your life is gonna suck from here on out, and he was illustrating that point through this poor guy, man, and yeah. That's what he did.
This professor stood one guy up, and the guy clearly hadn't read.
Sounds like my kind of guy.
And the guy was not prepared, and he wasn't like, he wouldn't just say, "Hey, look, I didn't read."
Oh, he tried to fake it. Yeah, no, man, that's not the play. I can tell you that's not the play.
So he had his book open. So he was standing up, and he had his book open, and the professor just asked him a question, and he just started flipping pages like he was looking for.
I thought you were going to say flipping tables.
He was like flipping pages, and finally, I mean, there was like there's just no one talking for like 10 minutes, and we're all like, oh my,
that's pain, man.
And they eventually set him down and took it easy on him. But
it's hard to be comfortable in that silence like that, man. You get the secondhand embarrassment for him. We should start doing a segment of our show that's just that, man. Just dead air, dead air. Now that we got the video, it can just be dead air, and we're just staring at each other just for as long as we can.
See how far people make it through that.
This segment is staring at one another in silence.
That's what we call it. It's art, performance art. All right, first question. First question is just an opinion question, so this is an easy one for us. It says, as an attorney, what is your opinion? What is your opinion on the probate process? So that's a very broad, and so I know we talk about it, but I guess the first thing is the defined probate process.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you my answer, man. I don't love it. I don't love it, man. And we try to avoid it. I'll tell you that as well. So those are my initial thoughts. But yeah, the probate process in general is the process by which an estate is administered.
That's right. Yeah, probate is, if you got a will, right, or if you got a will or you don't have a will, you pass away, you've got estate, you got assets that need to get to the next generation, get to your heirs. The probate process is the process by which you go downtown. The clerk identifies who your heirs are, who should inherit, who should take, and then the clerk kind of runs the probate process on how those items are collected, how your debts are paid, and how they're distributed back out to heirs, how creditors are given notice. And we try to avoid that because that's what estate planning attorneys do. So our estate planning department, when they work with you, they're working with you on figuring out, okay, what probate assets do you have if you died today? What non-probate assets do you have? Where do you want them to go? How do you want them to get there? We talk about wills, we talk about trust, all these different ways to get things to the next generation and avoid probate. Because just like anything else, anytime the government gets involved, makes it harder, right? So
it makes it harder, man. Yeah. And you're likely gonna be sad during this time. I hope when I die that my family is so sad that they can't even walk downtown for at least like a week, man. Give me a week of mourning and the funeral is just people just moaning, man, in pain. But the point being, you're going to be sad, man. You don't want to go downtown and talk to the clerk and handle all these things. You got enough on your plate. So the less probate, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I was going to say,
I thought you're going to disagree with me.
No, but if you knew exactly when you were going to die,
yeah,
right. If you knew exactly when you were going to die, like 2 weeks before you were scheduled to die, you would go sit down and you try to take care of everything and get everything set up.
You think so?
I think so.
You wouldn't just be partying?
No, well,
you're not going to die, right?
Till that day.
Exactly. So turn up, man. Who's going to stop you?
You still probably want to get your affairs in order.
Yeah, you're right.
At some point, if you know.
That'll take like a day, right? And then you have 13 other days of cutting loose.
But the problem is you don't know. Like, of course, we don't know when most of the time. I guess sometimes you do know about when your day is going to come. But most of us don't know. It's going to be a surprise. It's not something we can plan for at a certain time. You just have to plan for it all the time. Right. And so,
jeez, that was profound. but
yeah, you get your estate plan in place, and then every year's tough for folks, I know, but every couple of years, you get a new kid in the situation. One kid turns 18, you got another kid, you plan.
We're going to put you guys on a schedule. Every 2 years, you're coming back to this office and you're going to have another baby.
But you'll look at it. You'll look at your trust. You'll look at your guardians. The same way you look at your life insurance, same way you look at your investments. You just make sure. And once you've set something up, maintenance is not bad. It's always the hurdle for folks to sit down with an attorney and get the estate plan set. So this is what I want to do. This is what I want to provide for. This is how I want to provide for them. And then once you get the estate plan set up, it's all maintenance.
Yeah.
Unless something crazy changes. Now, when if you've got a spouse and you or your spouse passes away, that's going to kind of change your estate plan. Like the estate plan you have in place should take everything into account and keep flowing. There might be some serious maintenance after that happens.
Yeah, and then major life events too, man. Like if you remarry, that's usually a big one. So there's things that can change that equation, but yeah, getting it done out of the gate. I think that's the number one hurdle.
But while you're doing your estate plan, that's one of the things that you're doing. You're trying to avoid probate.
In theory, that's what we would recommend you do. I don't know that every attorney does it that way, but I think the preferable way is the less probate, the better. And
you think about it too. I'm of that mindset. Where you really don't want the government involved in anything that government does not have to be involved in, and you don't want to go to court. You don't want to have to do anything with the clerk's office unless you have to. But here with planning, you can just avoid it completely. And I'll point out during the pandemic, it was almost impossible to get anything done at the clerk's office, right? So the folks who had passed away during, especially the early stages of the pandemic, courthouses were closed. Courthouses weren't processing certain things, and so. If your estate wasn't set up to kind of flow freely, something like that's going on, you got some problems, and things were bogged down, and for a long time things went really slow. You weren't getting anything done quickly, so it's you can plan around it. If you told me, Josh, you could plan around going to the DMV, I would plan around it.
Yeah, who wants to go there, man? You know what? I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to take a gander on the day you're going to die. You ready for this? I got a prediction. I'm going to lock it in. I'm going to say February the 26th, 2072. That's what I'm guessing.
No, that'd be a long time. I was thinking about the other day, somebody, we do a lot of real estate closings for folks, and a lot of these mortgages are 30-year mortgages. And so right now the last payment date on the mortgage is what is it?
2053.
Yeah, 2053.
30 years from now, brother. Man, 20 years from then, you're gonna die. That's spoiler alert. The day after Valentine's Day, 20 whatever it was. Yeah.
A lot of people die in February. It's because it's cold.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's science. That's just.
I'm going to be on my guard this February. You're not going to catch me, Grim Reaper. I'm going to take extra vitamins starting in January.
Morgan, we got another question. We have time for another question before the break.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back. We'll lead off with your next question, and then, of course, we'll get to some more. But Judica County Radio, we will continue. Josh Whitaker and Joe Hamer, managing partners, Whitaker and Hamer Law Firm. Again, you can find them offices all over the place: Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Goldsboro, Fuquay, Varina, Gastonia, and Morehead City. And they are staffed with some fine attorneys. It's your law firm for life. That's their saying. And again, practicing attorneys here in North Carolina. If you've got a legal situation that you're facing and you need some answers to your questions, you can always contact Whitaker and Hamer. Call 800-659-1186. Leave your contact information, briefly what the call's about, and an attorney with Whitaker and Hamer will be in touch. Again, the number, 800-659-1186. And you can always email your questions to the show, info@judicacounty.com. We're back right after this.